All right. Good evening, everybody. It was cool. I got to see. I like doing the countdown. I got It was a 5 second delay tonight, and then YouTube was 12 seconds. Pretty cool that it's getting that within that time frame. Man, I remember back in the day, guys, like when we first started doing streams, like what 2 years ago. Um, we had like a minute delay when we first started, and like we've really gotten it dialed down now. So it's crazy that it's within like 6, 7 seconds on both platforms. I think the connection works too. I know some of you guys have basically dial-up connections. Sean's on dial-up basically, remote dial-up, AOL style. But yeah, I've my gig up down is definitely helpful for streaming. So what is he saying? All right, so my kids made it to Michigan. They got there. They went out in the snow, so they are super happy that they got to see snow. It's February in Maryland, and we haven't had any yet. I say yet because it's definitely coming. It'll be here till May at this point. But they were all excited. They got up there like, yeah, we played in the snow. I'm like, what are you doing tomorrow? Playing in the snow. So they're getting, it's terrible in the Northwoods. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I remember going to my in-laws up there, and I was like, oh my God, what do you have? I'm like, oh, they're like, we have satellite kind of, and I was like, oh, I don't like it. They eventually got like, I guess DSL was the best they were able to get through the phone company or something, and it was better, but it was just like, yeah. All right, so looking at today in review, as you guys can see, euro was down yet again. Pound was up yet again, right? Nice little move in the pound, right? Up 90 on the pound dollar, up 90 or 82 in the pound yen. So some good movement. Euro pound down 85. So that one is continuing to fall, which is pretty interesting. Um, yeah. But then the rest of the three US pairs, really not too much movement, right? Minus 13 on the pound yen. Dollar Swiss up 17, dollar CAD up 15. So really not too much going on the rest of it. And the Aussie dollar basically minus 2 pips in 24 hours. So looked like yesterday the Aussie pairs were kind of dying out. If you guys look at the scanner right now, right, look at the bottom of the screen. Look at the scanner right now. Look at that level of consolidation. Man, this thing's asleep, right? And here's why. Look at this right here. You guys see it? Latest virus data from Hubei province suggests surge was one off, meaning that it's probably not as bad as everybody thought it was going to be yesterday. Yeah, not that it is real, but it is what it is. All right, so you guys can see CPI was off a little bit this morning. It was 0.1 versus 0.2. Core was basically coming in as expected, so really not too much different. They're forecasting an increase a little bit from previous. So not too much. And again, keeping inflation kind of under control here. Again, that's what the consumer price index really is based off of. Is important for keeping rates down where they are. They only raise rates when inflation gets out of control. But if it's not really moving too much, then guess what? They're really not going to do much. Which means, you know, obviously, stock market has the ability to continue to go higher. All right. So what do we got going into tomorrow? So tomorrow we got a little tiny bit of news. Nothing super crazy or anything like that. Um, obviously German preliminary GDP. The German number is very, very important for those of you that don't know. The German figure is important because they are the largest economy inside of the European Union. So typically when Germany is doing bad, you got to start worrying about other countries as well. So that's going to be an important one, particularly for some euro movement. And then at 8:30 tomorrow morning, we have core retail sales and the retail sales number. As you guys can see, the previous for the core retail sales number was 0.7, and it's forecast at 0.3. So quite a difference between those two. And again, if you break that down to like a little bit of lower of a level, you can see that the forecast last time was 0.5 and it came in at 0.7. So this time the forecast is expected to be lower, but you can see they're not right too often, right? So we'll see. I don't know. I think going from zero point 0.7 all the way down to a 0.3 is quite a bit of a jump. And I'm gonna, obviously, if you look at the past results, zero point 0.3 is not necessarily a big move, right? So not horrible, right? So again, we can expect some type of movement tomorrow. Whew, thank God for the fast mute button there. I'm gonna sneeze right into right in the microphone. That like came out of nowhere. Anyway, so that's not too bad. And then we have preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment. Last time that one was 99.8. This one is expected to be a little bit lower. Although, I mean, consumer sentiment may get a little bit funky because, again, this is kind of a rolling number. And, we'll start getting some of the virus data in there. But for the most part, I don't think it's going to be too bad. Um, we'll see. It's I don't know, with the virus data being not as bad as they thought it would be, I could see tomorrow being a plus day. We'll see. I mean, again, it's going to depend on the other news out there. And looking at the other things out there, I like this one. We're using a new method. Okay, sure. 4,000 new cases, new method. Um, but again, William's talking about the economy's in a very, very good place. Again, he's listening to Trump a little bit because he's using two. The hottest news, obviously, the CDC confirms we've had the 15th case, right? 15th case. So, you know, lots of people have gotten it, but not a lot of deaths from it. So again, not anything, super far to, bad to worry about. Next one is, again, how far can the euro fall? That's a great question. I'm still hoping for parity. I would love that one. And again, here we have that same report from up top. All right. And then liquidity strengths, yada, 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 yada. Not too much there. So really not a whole lot of economical data. And again, just kind of talking about the European Union. And again, if that German number is bad, yes, this will definitely continue to keep falling. So, pretty interesting, right? Pretty interesting as far as what we have going into the weekend. And I say the weekend because remember, tomorrow afternoon by like noon, we're the only ones left trading. So the weekend kind of starts early, right? If you haven't met your weekly profit target, not a bad time to, close down what you got and, get ready for next week. That's typically, what, a lot of currencies traders do on Friday. By 10 o'clock, you are, done in the morning. So, that's where we are right now. Let's look that into the scanner. So the scanner, and again, with only core retail sales and kind of what we have going on in the markets, a lot of sideways movement today, right? A lot of sideways movement. If you look over at the majors today, we have the consolidation here. We have consolidation in New Zealand, consolidation in dollar CAD. And again, we see that up here in the top, right? Dollar CAD's, here, the 5. So again, definitely a lot of consolidation. Now the pound dollar is actually rallying a bit, right? That one is up 86. So that was an anchor break to the top side. And the two lower time frames, the 4-hour and the 1-hour, are both consolidating. So, a little bit of a pop. We'll see if that's able to continue forward or not. Like I said, there was an announcement today. With the pound, I guess, with a new person coming in. So again, that's what the market was reacting off of. They like that. The market was happy about that. But again, tomorrow that person, there will probably be some type of a retracement. All right. And then dollar yen uptrend set. We got a pullback. But again, dollar yen only moved 16 pips. So yes, it was red today, but it really wasn't that big of a mover in 24 hours. So uptrend setup, we'll check where it is. We'll see if we're running into areas of demand. And the two lower time frames, we have the sideways confirmed, right? Sideways confirmed movement. Looking in the European basket. So the European basket is basically continuing its trends. The European currency is just definitely devaluing. Again, down here against the pound, down against the Swiss, down against the Aussie, down against the yen, and on the dollar. And again, straight across the board, downtrend setups. Last night we were talking about, a couple of these pairs were sitting in demand zones on larger time frames, but there was a second demand zone below. So let's go back in again and see if the first one is broken, where are we looking in the second one? Okay. And again, you can see the pairs are lining up a little bit better now. So again, everything in here is telling us down except the Euro New Zealand, which was a downtrend setup, meaning that we had a little bit of pullback in the lower time frame. Everything else is just screaming down. So, we'll see what's going on with the euro, if that one's falling apart or not. And then look at the Canadian basket. Canadian basket has some consolidation as well. Aussie CAD consolidation, CAD yen consolidation, Euro dollar CAD consolidation, and New Zealand CAD all consolidation. Euro CAD again, anchor break to the downside, meaning that obviously the European currency is getting weak again. CAD is getting strong. So again, that's on the downside. And then again, we have the uptrend setup. So, the best looking one in here, the one with the most strength, is really this CAD yen, and that one's in a consolidation pattern. So CAD is really flat as well. Aussie, man, this sucker is dead. And again, just so you guys know, this is a commodity-based pair, and so is the Canadian dollar. Okay, the two commodity-based pairs that were literally set on fire by the whole kind of virus news are now kind of falling asleep, and they're in consolidation mode. Euro or the Aussie, man, this thing is just like womp womp. Nothing. Look at this. All the way across the board. Slight confirmations, but really not a whole lot of movement, right? Not much at all. Okay, so that's kind of, kind of worrying. It's an uptrend, but, the anchor is engulfed. Looking at the pound, again, pound, we definitely have some strength as well. Unlike the euro, which is all red, you guys can see the big red bar over here. This one is all blue, as well as the Aussie was all blue. But this one actually has setups and anchor breaks and confirmations where this one doesn't have anything. So as you can see, you have the pound Swiss, pound New Zealand, both sideways up confirmed, right? We have an anchor break to the top side in the pound dollar, right? Again, meaning that we have this pound strength. And then we have uptrend set up with the yen, Aussie, and CAD. So there's a lot really going on with the pound right now. And again, having 86 and 78 and then minus 84, you can see this thing is on the move. Now, it looks like they're big numbers, but this is where basically where about the ATR should be. It should be moving this much every single day, and that's more normal. Pound yen obviously should be moving a little bit over 100, but pound dollar, I'd say between 85 and maybe 110 is typically what normal days should be. Okay, so this is kind of getting back to what almost normal looks like. Days of 37 and 13 and this kind of stuff, 18, that is extremely suppressed. Okay, extremely suppressed. Okay, this is what the pairs are supposed to be doing. All right, so hopefully this is a sign of what's to come. The pound used to be one of my favorite pairs to trade, and then it kind of just, after Brexit got released, it was kind of like only good when there was Brexit news, and that was it. So that's kind of exciting to see some of these back in there again, just by the word, because of one person getting, put up for a job. So happy about that. But as far as the scanner goes, like I said, Aussie just blah. Euro basically straight down, pound straight up. So we're looking for opportunities to be able to get into both those. And again, CAD basket, not really great either, right? So also, I would say Aussie's the worst, CAD's second, and then we probably go into these other two. Again, we'll see where the European pairs are and the pound pairs are in a second. All right. So with that said, let's jump over into charts, and we'll start on the Aussie dollar, and we'll start on the 4-hour or on the daily. You can see we still bounced off that demand zone. We had a little bit of a pullback, but the red candle is obviously inside. It's engulfed. Now on the daily, weekly, it is giving us a downtrend setup, but we did run into demand, so we want to be cautious with that. On the 4-hour, you can see here, yeah, it kind of went back and forth. Was there a little bit of entry in the 4-hour? Sure, there was. Right, there was a topping, a pull down, a pull up and grab, but at the end of the day, this one only moves about 18 pips right now from that area. So not necessarily a huge trade. Looking at it on the hourly, you can see here as well, right? The highs are getting lower, the lows are getting higher, kind of consolidating back in again. So, it's one of those things. Could you have taken something small in here? Probably. I mean, you could have taken this area up top and run it down to the other side and gotten about 30 out of that. But besides that, really not much, right? Where we were last night in this pair, here we are at 21. We're at 21 right here. Okay, it had just come off this bounce. It did go all the way up, and it did come all the way back down. So again, these two, the top and bottom, were marked from last night, and they are still good top to bottom. Had you taken the top zone for a reversal, you ended up hitting your 5-1. And again, if you were in from here, you obviously made it to the top side as well. So both of those were good on the Aussie dollar. Right now, we're kind of smack in the middle. This will move a bit with retail sales tomorrow, but we'll see where we're at. Being right in the middle right now, I don't have too much faith that this one is going to be in close to one of these two zones before that news release. And that's where I'd want it. I don't want it in the middle. I would like it to be top or bottom. Ideally on a 4-hour basis, but in this case, we're very far from the bottom side. It really needs to come back up again. So we kind of want dollar weakness overnight. Have this thing come back up before retail sales can get into there. And let's see, that zone it's about 12. So that's, if I was setting up anything, I would like this thing to rally up here and be up here for news. Okay, that's what I'm waiting for, and that's Aussie dollar. Looking at New Zealand, Aussie New Zealand. I mean, this is 30-minute. We'll go back up here. Just to load this data in. You guys can see it bounce off that 4-hour zone. This is kind of what we're dealing with, right? Here's where we are right now. And going back, right here is where we are. So went down a little bit, went up a little bit. Again, until we get back up top, I'm not really going to mess with too much inside of this long extended range candle. Even to the bottom side, when we have some basing, it's pretty ugly basing. So not really too much here. You can see on the 4-hour, we came off that zone. 30-minute, I mean, not even really any great entries on the 30-minute, right? And this kind of retrace back up again. I mean, one candle, and this is going to take a long time. So this will be and again, part of the reason why this one is so weird and ugly right now is because all this big movement really has to do with the coronavirus. But both the Australian and the New Zealand are both affected by it. You get a little bit of news, it rockets yourself out, but what are you trading here, right? What are we doing here? Not really any type of no trend, so nothing to really focus on. Looking at Aussie yen, take it up top. Right, you can see same thing. Downtrend set up on the daily, weekly, like we've seen on a few different pairs at this point. Set up on the 4-hour. You guys can see here's where we are right now. And here's where we were last night. This candle. Okay. From here to here, basically no movement. A little bit up, right? It went about 20 pips up, about 15 pips down, and it's in the same exact spot. So really no movement on this one. You guys can see here. Look at this on the 1 hour. I mean, literally bounced off the bottom of the zone and then just flatlined. So again, no trend, no trade. Right. All right. So looking at this Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD is also in the same thing that daily, weekly downtrend setup, but it's in an area of demand. We know that from before. Looking on the 4 hour, same thing, consolidation pattern, right? You have your highs coming down and you have your lows coming up. So again, consolidating, kind of coiling up for some type of a spring. No CAD news or Aussie news tomorrow. So again, I think this one will continue to coil tomorrow unless there's some really crazy news release. But there's no economic news from now till then that can kind of set this off. This one is really just kind of setting up for where do we go next week on this one? Because again, with this, I mean, I can draw the trend line if you guys really want. I mean, I could do it off there, but I can make it a little bit better by using that line. That line there, and then again, I can do the opposite. I can do this line here. I mean, I guess I could kind of cheat it a little bit, go that way. Cheat it just a little, right? Because there's your 1, there's your 2, there's your 3, even though it's more like that. But either way, you guys see what I'm getting at. For you trend followers, like I said, we're consolidating down. We're right in the middle between supply and demand on top and bottom, so really no trade in Aussie CAD. Aussie Swiss, load new data in. Aussie Swiss, same thing, downtrend setup, but it's into an area of demand. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, this one is not really too much. I mean, again, we had that retest last night, and it's just kind of pushed forward. Here's where we are right now, and here's where we were last night. So here to here, right? We went as much as 16 pips down and as much as 10 pips up. So not enough on a 4 hour, even on a 4 hour chart, really nothing for us to trade inside of Aussie Swiss. We're not near a 4 hour zone, top or bottom. So again, nothing to trade on this one. I think this one will probably line up for next week. I'm very curious to see where this one gaps into, if we get any type of gap on it going into Sunday. All right. And last but not least, on the Aussie pairs, we have Aussie Singapore. And again, that's kind of where we're at. We went into that zone. We talked about it last night. We were pulling away. We pulled back up again, and it came, kind of over again. Kind of the same thing, right? On this one, we're more forming a flag, right? Highs are getting, or the lows getting higher, and we're kind of capped off on the top, looking for some type of an explosion. I think we'll run out of steam on this one as well. I think we'll end up, most likely, unless it hits the zone and bounces back down again, most likely we'll end up inside of that zone, which will be leading us into an interesting next week, right? Looking at it on the hourly, you can see as well, we literally hit and came right back down again. So it should be able to burst through this. This one pierced pretty deeply. It came all the way up to there, so just a little sliver above where orders could still be hiding. But for the most part, I mean, we've hit here. We've hit basically here. This got front run. This one put in deep. I don't see this one holding again. I think it'll start creeping towards the top side. But you can see on the bottom side, you have some demand here, 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 a little bit in here as well. And again, right now, it's a double bottom one, so I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of that one, but it looks like it's going to continue to push higher. Okay. Don't really love much going into the weekend. Remember, great pair to trade. Right now, the spread is at 2. And again, that's not a bad spread for this one. But remember, this one gets to be like 10-15 on Sunday. So be very, very cautious. Don't trade the Sunday night gap strategy with the Singapore pairs because they're a little dangerous on Friday. I mean, I think the best one was 8 pips, but then by Monday, it's down to 1. So just be cautious with that. All right. So those are the Aussie pairs. Looking at the CAD, we'll start off with the other CAD pair. I prefer this one. All right. So let's see here. On a 4 hour, again, we still had that same bounce, as you can see. Really not much movement today. Dropping this one down to an hourly. This is kind of what we were looking for, right? Here's where the current candle is. If you look at the bottom, it's 21. And when we go back, the 21 candle is right there. Okay, right here. So you should have been already entered this trade. You should have been taken out already with your profit target. It did not come back and actually hit the retest of that zone. It got close, but it got front run and then continued to push all the way back down again. So, you would have been out. You would have missed the entry by about 2 pips on the top side for that retest. But again, had you held it, it would have scared you when it came all the way back, but it ended up hitting your 1 to 5. And that one was for a full 40 pips to the downside. So it's there. That zone is still valid. I would still keep that one marked off. Set yourself an alert at 8108. I think that is still good going into the weekend. I would actually like it tomorrow. If we can get this thing to rally up a little bit, and if we can end the week here, definitely be looking Sunday night to be looking to open up, opening up a short in this position to take this back to the downside. That's kind of all we got right now. Because if you look top to bottom, we're kind of at like the 30-40% mark between an area of sellers and an area of buyers. So not really too much we can do until we get to one of those two extremes. Right in the middle is not really the best, but you can see last time our 1 to 5 risk to reward target has hit fully. And again, like I said, most people would get scared, but they're like, "Yep, pass my 1 to 3," and then it comes all the way back up. But you would have been fine. It ended up making it all the way down to your 1 to 5. All right, Cat Swiss. This. So Cat Swiss is still in that downtrend setup, looking for orders. Nothing really great, although we are finally pushing up to that zone, which is pretty interesting on the daily. On the 4-hour, kind of the same situation. We've been waiting for this green line to go, and as I mentioned yesterday, it's like, oh, we're getting so close, right? Well, here's where the candle is right now. You'll see it's the 8 candle, and then here's the other 8 candle, right here. So it went a total of 18 pips down, and now it's 13 pips up. So even on a 4-hour, the CAD Swiss is just not giving us a lot of movement. It kind of looks more like that. And again, this is a 4-hour. This 4-hour demand, or this 4-hour supply zone is about 9 pips. So that's still a valid entry for us on the top side. But I think tomorrow we will end up probably closing the week there. And again, same situation. If we're sitting in demand here, if we're sitting in supply here and we're sitting in supply in the CAD yen, we got to be looking at going into Sunday with shorts in both of these pairs, or whichever one is setting up to be best while in the open. Okay, so that would be the Canadian pairs. Going over the Swiss pair by the judge. What judge? What judge got you? All right. Looking at this guy. All right, so in the daily, this one was down a bit, but nothing too crazy. Oh, on Microsoft. I didn't even see it. What happened with that one? I didn't even check it. I don't honestly. Microsoft was such a boring stock for so long. I never even messed with it. What do we got on there? I mean it's down 0.5%, right? I don't even know what the news is on it. The news. I don't know. Everything's saying it's too high, too fast. I don't even see anything. I don't know. Microsoft used to be super boring, so I never even paid attention. I stopped paying attention to that one a long time ago. I don't do as much on stocks. I used to. I used to work for a company that will unmentioned problems with judges in the near future. Um, this one, I don't know. I mean, it definitely moved to the downside. Again, you got your entry. It's still not at that the 3 to 1 on the 4-hour. It's close. I mean, we were within, I don't know, 14 pips. It was close. I mean, last night we were sitting right here last night. So, total of 23 pips down. Nothing super impressive on this one. It's almost a profit target. Now, I will say this, guys. If this one has not hit by like noon tomorrow, make sure you psych your stop loss up really, really close and then close this down before the end of the day. Being this close to a profit target, you're not going to hold this over the weekend. It doesn't make any sense to. Why risk all this to make just this little amount? It doesn't make any sense. So if you're still in this position, make sure you shut this thing down tomorrow, take your profit on it, and then again, you could always re-enter it if you want it on Sunday. But being this close to a demand zone, if we have not hit it and we just go sideways, just dump it. You've gotten your profit out of it. It's fine not to take the full 3 to 1 on this one because again, you don't. Swiss yen is not a pair you want to hold into the weekend just because of liquidity problems. And if somebody like Iran or Russia or any other country invades another one, that jacks the strength in the Swiss. This thing will go and open up over here. Okay, so it's just one of those ones. And like I said, the joke is that Russia only invades other countries on Saturdays, which if you look back in history, that's pretty common, right? So yeah, so not one you want to hold over the weekend. So be cautious with this one. Going to European pairs. Oh, really? You were up 40%, and then you're down 16. To me, my friend, that sounds like an issue with money management. Yeah, because if you're able to take that big of a swing that fast, you weren't protecting it enough. And again, what was your? So I got a question for you, JTech. So what was your profit target? What did you? Yeah, you got greedy. That's what I was kind of getting at, but you called it out. What was your? Where was your profit at? Like, how much were you looking to make on them? What type of return were you looking? Because a lot of this, so much about trading. Here's the thing. So people are get very very trading is something that everybody loves the idea of. The mystique behind it. Trading psychology is one of the hardest things about it, and particularly the money management slash greed fear side of things is really kind of what's that's really the key. You know, there are strategies out there that you know you would never believe that work in a million years, but if you play them right with money management and you're setting up the correct risk to reward ratios, as absurd as it sounds, strategies will work. They shouldn't. But the problem is when people don't know how to manage their risk and position size it correctly and be consistent with it, that's where they mess it all up. I got it at 96 and I was looking to sell at 130. It capped at 126. So you risked basically going for your last four. You gave up what? 20, 35. So you risked four. So you risked 35 or 36, right? To make four. 30, actually 30, sorry. Yep. Yeah, so you risked 30 to make four. Yeah, that's why you got to watch those things when you're that close. You got to start looking in the market, keep a track on it, or particularly with options, right? Again, calls are a weird thing. I mean, people are just, yeah. I mean, you got some time, you do, but I mean, here's the thing, though. Yeah, you got some time on there, but it could go against you even more, right? So just make sure that you're protecting yourself there. Calls are a funny thing. You can buy a call, have it go in your direction, and still lose money on it based off the pricing and volatility. It's just crazy. Put us out at 115. Yeah, yeah. I'm not looking after the week. Yeah, it's probably better not to. It's just negativity. You don't want to look at it. It's negativity. All right, guys, looking at Euro Pound. So Euro Pound is the one I pulled up first because I was doing some analysis. Watching this thing just collapse today, right? It is just collapsing. So we had a zone that we were sitting there looking at in this area, right? Here was the top based off of this formation. I love those formations, right? And you can see not only did it hit it, it started to pull away and then started to have some issues, right? So as soon as you see this thing spike, you're like, it's having some problems. And next thing you know, just wham, wham. It's like, wow. This thing dropped 95 pips in 8 hours, basically just straight down. Okay. Then what happened? Like the force field protecting this bottom demand zone stepped in. Not only did it hold it back, but then it froze it basically. So this has been pretty crazy to the downside. As you can see, again, we drove deep into this demand zone, right? Deep into the demand zone. And I told you before yesterday, we could be looking to go long, but only when we have some type of confirmation. Well, what confirmation on the 4 hour did we get that this thing is slowing down? Not here. Not here. So again, this is why, you don't step in front of a moving train unless you have very high confirmation that we're going to have a turning point. Okay. And it didn't even hit it. That's the crazy part. Looking at this on an hourly, you can see even on an hourly, is there anything in here that tells us that we have suddenly a long signal? The answer is no. Here, I'll delete these two things off so you guys can see it. There's nothing in here that tells me. At no point in here, in this whole piece in here, is there a green, red, green that would signify there's a reversal of trend. It is just going boom, level, 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 and going all the way through. So now we finally have some basing and flattening. Question is, can we get that little push to the downside, or is this it? Did that front run of that large 4 hour zone, is that going to be the bottom? Did the buyer step in and say, nope, we're going to put an invisible barrier right here. It's not going to go lower than this. This is where we're putting the line in the sand. So with the German news tomorrow morning, it'll be very interesting to see what that does to this one. Okay. It is a pretty nice zone there. Like I said, this is a pretty nice zone, right? I mean, large thing it stopped it, it based it, and then it launched itself out of it. So this is a pretty good zone. Okay. And again, we haven't even hit it yet, and we're already starting to form a base. I will say, forming the base, though, right above it, it is trying to grab some more sellers to be able to make another attempt to push down. If this one breaches, again, this is going to be interesting because it'll be kind of a new level and then a new level. Stacked right on top of each other. So be cautious of that, right? Because by it basing right now, it is putting in a level right here. Okay. So you need to watch for a level here as well as a level right on top. So be cautious as any type of short because it may actually pull back to grab these. All right. That's what we got going with Euro Pound. Euro Pound, I'm still waiting to see if we have the base here. And like I said, I think there may be some news tomorrow morning. Here is Euro Aussie. Okay. Euro Aussie kind of did the same thing, but this thing drove down and actually did bounce off of that little zone right there. So right now, again, it pulled back up, it grabbed some orders, and it's pushing. So looking at it on the 1 hour, you guys can see what it did. Whoops, let me cycle its data. You can see it did come up. It didn't go to a level of basing, but it's still pushing. So again, you have to ignore this. It's telling us, oh, we have a downtrend setup. Yeah, but it's a downtrend setup, but it's into areas of demand. Now, on the daily, we still do have room to run. Okay, it's not signifying anything a large enough move in here, as well as down here. And again, really, this is the zone we're kind of looking for. So, on a daily, it's still telling us that, hey, this thing wants to drop. On a 4 hour, not really a lot of clean levels in here, right? Not too much that we think we're going to be able to grab. This one is okay, but you're talking about 80, 90 pips away from where we are now up to where the zone would be. Stop moving. Yeah, about 80 pips. Okay. Now, the ATR of this pair is obviously quite large, 125, but we're not going to have a full day in tomorrow. So, yeah, I think this one is probably going to end, probably close somewhere on one of these demand zones. So this will be one that I'm very curious to see what the German number does to this tomorrow. And then we got to see where we're going to be for Sunday night. I believe that this will probably be a Sunday night trade setup. And again, this one has also given us some pretty nice gaps. So looking at this one, the EuroCAD, same thing. This one drove through this bottom level pretty nicely. Looking at this on the 4 hour, same thing. Okay, this one is also putting levels in, although not as many explosive moves in here. But what do we see in the scanner? I'll pull the scanner up real quick so you guys can see it. The scanner inside of CAD, it's all like dead, right? It's pretty low. Okay, EuroCAD is over here, and again, it's giving us an anchor break, but the Canadian symbol in itself, consolidating, 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 consolidating. So lots of consolidation in there. And again, yeah, we had one spike, but besides that, it's a lot of consolidation. Okay, so it's kind of doing the same thing. So EuroCAD, I don't think EuroCAD's going to have much juice tomorrow as well, so I don't know if we're going to get anything there. Euro Swiss, again, this one is just, look, this one is just going, right? This one's just going. Now, we do have an area right here of demand. I think, did we do that on the weekly? Yeah, that's the start of that weekly zone. So we did get closer. We mentioned last night if we can get a little bit lower, we'd be looking for potential longs. We're about 35 pips from that right now. And you can see it, it's approaching. There's not really forming any type of basing or anything in here. So it's not a horrible little area. We'll see it when we get, just that last little bit. Yeah, we're about 30 pips now. The daily ATR is only about 35. So I think we will probably, again, if that news is bad for Germany, I think we will probably go down and rest on that zone. And again, this is a daily/weekly zone. This is a very big one. This could be something going into Monday that we are looking to take longs off of. I know it's a different pair, but again, another one of the pairs that we're sitting in a demand zone going into the weekend, that's typically a long setup. All right. Let's see. That is the Swiss. Let's go into Euro Yen. So Euro Yen, you guys will see we marked off the zone here. Look what we did today. This one pierced in, came back up, and is now just kind of going sideways over the top of it. You'll see we crashed into it. We like that. This is a wick over wick area, so we're not surprised that it is slowing down here. And you can see it pretty much stop. It stabbed, came up, went sideways, stabbed, came up, and has now gone sideways. So it's definitely having problems with this zone. This one I don't think, though, will hold all the way through till the weekend. So this may be something that, again, if we can kind of clear that 2 a.m. News, this could give us a potential pop to the top side tomorrow during the day, just based off of where we are. Looking at it on an hourly as well, doesn't look like we have any good zones up till we're up here. So we got about 45 pips on the top side on this one. This may be a little one, depending on what we form from now till 2 a.m. my time, or in the next couple of hours. If we can get a level of basing, again, that may give us the small level of risk that we're looking for. Right now, there's about 15 pips to the low. These two are basically the same exact bottom. I don't really have a good risk zone right now. Let's see. This one is it's 22. Can I see it on this chart? Oh, I don't think I can on the hourly. Oh, maybe I can. Let's see. Yeah, I probably have to mark it there. About 17 pips. Not ideal, but right about there, you guys can see when I adjusted it, this one hit, this one hit. So we know there's some buyers sitting in there. So that's going to be, you're going to have to watch out for that zone. And it'll be something along these lines. Out there. 118.87 to 118.70. So about 17 pips risk on that one. And I like where this 1 to 3 is. This 1 to 3 is actually in a very good spot right here, right? It's right before the opposing demand or the opposing supply zone. So not a bad little setup on that one. That'll be definitely something to track on your radar for the weekend going into next week. Let's see. Your England. Ooh, that's ugly. Yeah, this is pretty just junk. This spike up, spike down. Again, it's in the same place. No trade on this one. I'm not going to mess with that one, being that pair. Let's see. What do we got here? Parity. I want parity. Come on. We got some room. All right. So you see, these zones aren't even going to hit these steps on the way down. Jeez. These are interesting, right? Base, boom, base, boom, base, boom. It's pretty similar, right? Sideways, drop, long base, drop, long base, drop. This one actually had a little spike. Sideways, drop, base, little pop, drop, and then has leveled off. So this one's giving us about 3 hours of movement every day, 4 hours of movement every day. God, the problem is this one doesn't even really have much room to rally back up to. Looks like we have a zone sitting right there. 686, and again, that is on the daily, so that could be an area that we're shooting for. It's a bit far of a run for one day. It's about 90 pips. I don't see this thing dropping 90 pips tomorrow, but at least we have it on the chart. We can kind of see where it's at. You guys can see it's pretty low down there, so I don't know if we can make it there tomorrow. We'll see how much it can move, but besides that, this is a garbage zone right here. There's really not much we can do in this one right now. Can't get into this one. And again, this pair is sideways down confirmed, but there's not really a great pullback area in this one. I was hoping we had more on that one. And Singapore, let's see what we got here. So you can see this one is, remember before I talked about this one would be retracing? This one is definitely retracing. From that zone right now, we're down about 200 pips from that high. You guys can see it on the daily as well as the 4 hour. On the hourly, see the steps that it's put in. 4 hours been the way to trade this one, though. I think this one will continue to the downside. Grab there, although I wouldn't have got an entry on that one. We are going to run into something in a little bit, though. Don't be surprised if we hit something in there. That is about 32 pips from where we are right now. Be interesting to see if we gap into that this weekend. So we're about 32. Wait, what did I say? 32? About 35 pips. Its ATR is 73. So again, even if we slow down for being over the weekend, because again, the last day for Europe is half over. Be interesting to see if we start Sunday here. If we start Sunday sitting in this area, that would be an interesting long situation, particularly if we go down to like here and then gap down, then we taking a long back up. We got plenty of room on that one. Oh, it's not going to work there. Hold on. Something along those lines. If we have a gap into that zone on Friday or on Sunday. Okay. That's not horrible. All right, so that would be the last of the European pairs. Let's go into the pound pair. So pound pairs, again, most of the euros were negative. You guys can see they were all to the downside. Some of them entering demand, but none of them really giving us great pullbacks. They're just kind of chipping to the downside. We will run into something soon and start getting some bases, so there will be some opportunity to go long in that one next week. I don't think it's going to continue just to go straight down for another week. Men sunk. Pressing. Wait, Debbie's here. That means the blind date did not go good. Debbie, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're here, but I'm happy that you're here. Did he look anything like his picture? That's all I want to know. I'm gonna go with no because you're here, but we're happy to have you. All right, guys. Pound yen. You guys can see this one. Kind of put a little top in right there, but here's what we got. So again, we are. It is giving us a. It was for a second ago, but again, we're in a trend to the top side. I mentioned last night. We needed to go a bit higher before we're willing to take some shorts on this one. Looking at this one on the 4 hour, you can see we started here, or that's where we're right now, and this is where we were last night, at the base of this. So we did continue to push higher, but again, we're still not at either of those two zones. Not much we can do until we get into there. Again, we're actually kind of holding in this zone right now on the top side. But like I said, I think 4 hours is what we need to work on here. And I mentioned this last night. You know, we have really that side and this side is kind of what we're looking for, top and bottom. And remember, I did the two colors for you now. 130. That's probably what normal is. CAD, same thing. Top, bottom. Again, this on the daily. Let's see, 4 hour. 4 hour gives us a little bit. There you go. You can see where we're at with the 4 hour in this one. This one, it's about a 55 pip zone, so it's quite a large zone here. Dropping it down, you guys can see there was a kind of a brief touch here for this on the hourly, but the movement since that time has been like null or void. Okay, we're not up. We're not to a 1-to-1 yet, so you know, not horrible. I don't know that I wouldn't get into that trade now if you were in it. And again, don't hold this one past like noon tomorrow as well. But again, that's one that we had set up before. Let's see. Drew it off of this. It's a little easier to see. Right there. Actually, it's a little bit shy. Hold on. There you go. All right, so you can see this one would have been very, very close for an entry. She would have probably had to move. Test happened. It's snapping on me here. Snap function just gets me sometimes. The green test, the red test, so you're good across. So again, you're about halfway down. Like I said, don't have this one cost you money going into the weekend. Pound Aussie, again, the Aussie only has got a couple hours to go. Pound will get started and be done at 11. So again, don't hold this one too long. Now, this one probably won't have as much movement tomorrow. The way that it's looking, it wants to retrace off the big movement today. The German preliminary GDP is probably not going to affect it, nor will the pound, nor will the retail or core retail sales numbers or consumer sentiment. So I expect this one to grind down. Most likely you will end up hitting over here. So that would be where we're at now. Pound Singapore, again, we are topping. It's got a bit to go before we get back up into that range, though. We got a little bit more to go. That zone, again, for those of you that didn't get it yesterday, is 182.13 to 182.88. Not doing anything until we hit that range. Pound Swiss. Load that up with data. We got another about 80 pips on this one to go to the top side. Its daily ATR is 86, so it basically needs one ATR forward to get back up to that zone. This is not a bad little area to take a short off of. I like where the 1 to 3 is. I like where the 1 to 5 is currently right now. I think those are both great profit targets for that one. And again, this one, has the ability to move a bit. Again, we're drawing this off the daily, and it's giving us about a 29 pip zone. If we did it off the 4 hour, Kind of the top side of that one. Eh, I think it's a bit more conservative taking it on the daily. It's slightly above in this range. Again, you guys can see the last kind of test up in this green candle came right here, which is just slightly below. So it's probably not bad. This one has the potential maybe to get front run, but we're taking more of this into consideration. So versus the aggressive. So this is a little bit more of a conservative one for pound. But again, that'll be a Sunday night opportunity most likely. Okay. And then pound New Zealand. Let's see. See, this one pulled back on the daily. It didn't kind of retrace itself. On the 4 hour, let's see, we got about 125 pips to the top side. The daily ATR on this one is 180, so it can make it there, but we're kind of smack in the middle. So here's buying, here's selling, and we're smack in the middle. So we really need this one to go higher or lower, not just base sideways in here before we have any type of trade setup. Looking at it on the 1 hour, 1 hour there is a little bit of a zone. It's not it's not horrible, but the entry is not great, as well as the spike is actually up to here. So there's a little bit more on the top side. This is actually grabbing a wick over wick, not necessarily the explosion off of it. I mean, I was going to drop down to this time frame. I'd probably just use this. Probably just use that. Okay. Boxing off that green. I like that better than I would like using this. So something along these lines if we're able to get up that high. Something along those lines. Okay. That's based off of this level. That is 204.13 and 204.36. Okay. All right. So let's go to New Zealand. Got to be Brian today. I deserve 100 pip tips. Debbie, the way you get them is by basically watching, by being part of the channel. I can show you. I'll show you at the very, very end. But by watching, you get pip chips. Also, it says that you are Twitch Prime, but you are not subscribed to the channel. Like Ernest, see how he has the first next to it? He's been a subscriber. He was one of the first 10 subscribers to the channel. That's why he has the first. If you scroll up and look at La Marina 7, you'll see that hers has a KTS next to it. And like Josh has a KTS. So Josh has been a 4-month subscriber. So you can see the badges up there. It basically gives you the things. So you're using Twitch Prime, but you haven't subscribed. So if you subscribed, you get double the pip chips. So instead of getting one every 10 minutes, you get two every 10 minutes. So you get like double the pip chips. But that's what the Twitch Prime is for. All right, so New Zealand CAD. And I don't like it on the daily. Let's see what we got on the 4 hour here. Oh, I heard the beat. Did anybody see the shark? Is the shark still coming up? Oh no, it's a thing now. There you go. Cool. Yeah, Debbie, there was okay. So you got a star for that one. There was there was like a dancing shark that kept popping up, and everyone's like, "Did you see the shark?" It was crazy. I hear the beep, and then there's a delay before like the stream actually covers the like the subscription badge or whatever. But it's funny because like the guys are talking about this dancing shark. I'm like, "What are you talking about? I didn't put a dancing shark anywhere." Yeah, see how you have it now, the KTS next to your name? That means you're a subscriber to the channel. So now you earn twice as many pip chips. And then there's a stream store. If you scroll down, you can see like click on that the pip chip leaderboard. When you click it, you can go to the actual stream store itself. I feel so bad for Debbie now. She's like, guys, you're not gonna see me. Blind date, and everybody's like, oh no blind dates. It's 2020. She's like, if you see me, it went bad. All right, so this one on the 4 hour, guys, it's kind of in the middle. We need to retrace a little bit lower. Right now, with price being at 85.32, we need this to come back down to 85.02. Again, we want to make sure that it gets back down to an area that's good for healthy for buyers. So again, CAD and New Zealand are both kind of those commodity pairs that are affected by the coronavirus. So nothing really going there. Looking at this bad boy, the New Zealand Swiss. New Zealand Swiss is again, it's kind of at the upper. It's just over the 50% mark between all the buyers here. And again, there's like 3 levels stacked each other on the 4 hour. On the 1 hour, God, it's not even really a great zone. That zone should be about twice as wide. That zone should encompass here to there. Where that zone should be. Something along those lines. Looking at something along like that. Okay. If we're able to get up that high. But like I said, we do have some consolidating. We have time with whatever the sellers are sitting right above here. This area is it's a tiny, tiny area. Even on the 30-minute, it doesn't even look like a great level. Yeah, even on the 30-minute, it's the same zone. So it's super, super close. It just hasn't gotten the entry yet. So again, this one would be 63.28 to 63.35 as far as a topside sell, if we're able to get up to the area. Okay. Yen, oh, so close on the 4-hour. Tuck this data back in. So we boxed this one off and said, hey, listen, we need to get this higher low, and let's see. So here's where we were last night. Here's where we are now. Okay, this one is 15 pips different, a little spike up and down, but really not too much. Yeah, we really need topper this one. Another one. I hate this this is like the worst thing about some Fridays is you get in here, you're like, listen, here's my sellers, here's my buyers, and we're gonna say hang out right in the middle. So unfortunately, nothing on New Zealand dollar or New Zealand yen. New Zealand dollar. Let's see what we got here. Obviously that 4-hour hit and it's just retracing. Let's suck some new data into it. Honestly, I still like this top one the best. Got down here. See what this zone is doing. Oh, I just heard the beep again. Somebody else subscribe. Oh, the writing is so little. I can't even read what it says on my screen. I have whoever just subscribed. I really appreciate it. I couldn't actually see it. It was on the side and it was tiny. It'll pop up in chat and then I can read it. I have like a lot of things on that monitor, but I heard the beep and I saw the star, but I did not see the dancing thing. All right. I think this one is going to need to wait as well. Like I said, this is not necessarily the biggest mover. The ATR on this one is only 43 pips in a day. We did have this little bit a couple days, like we mentioned this last night, that we had this little zone right here. Okay. That wasn't horrible. Again, we spiked into it. That was the only good thing about this one. And we'd see a retrace, and that's about all we got. Whoops, not that. Right there. No, no. All right, I have a love-hate relationship with this tool right now. Okay, so the 1 to 3 is in a good place. We moved a bit down today, but again, it still hasn't hit full profit target, and we're running at a time. Not that it expires or anything like that. It's foreign currency, but again, going into the weekend, it's not a pair you want to kind of mess with. So again, on the daily, this one is still going to the downside. I don't think we would get much of an entry based off of nothing different than what we would have set up last night on this one. Okay, that's the New Zealand pairs. Let's run across the dollar pairs. Excuse me. All right, so dollar yen. So we are now officially 7 pips from where we were last night. Okay, let's load this one back. Here's the daily. You can see we're literally butting up across this thing. I don't know how many people have kids in this channel, but my daughter, we are potty training her right now. And once she figured out how to take the diaper off, now she's anti-diaper. But she's not potty trained. I'm like, hey, I have to pee. It's like, he goes in the diaper and just takes it off. Girl goes running through the hallway. Like, oh. All right, so here's a 4-hour. You guys can see we had a little bit of a spike down here. You can see right here is where we currently are, and right here is where we were last night, right at this candle. right at the close. So really not much movement. I would say that this one is consolidating on the 4 hour. Looking at the 1 hour, I mean, look, I'm going to stretch it out, trying to make it look really, really good, right? Unfortunately, I'm unable to do that. There's just so much sideways movement, absolutely nothing in this one. Reset the indicator top and bottom. There's a little zone here. This is not horrible. I think if price is able to rally tomorrow, I think it's going to have some problems going through this zone. I don't know that I take that for a short, but it's going to have some problems going through that top side. Kind of what I'm looking for on this one is probably this for a top side. So I'd be looking for this as a top area, and then on the 1 hour, probably setting myself up to this side right here. So these are kind of my two areas where I'd be setting alerts. If we come high, again, looking for shorts here, and then looking for buys on the 1 hour. So remember, 4 hour up top, 1 hour on the bottom on this one. Again, this is a pretty clean pop off of it. Hasn't even got remotely close for testing. But again, we're at the 50% mark between the top and the bottom. So sell, buy, anything else, we just wait for the weekend. Okay, and we'll see what the gap looks like on Monday or on Sunday night. Okay, dollar Swiss, we're still grinding. We're close, guys. We're very, very close. We are 9 pips away. We're 9 pips. We're so close. We're almost there. It's right there. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Although it had some issues right here. So this is one of the ones we set up. Again, this is on the hourly. This one is what, like a 12 pip risk that we set up in dollar Swiss. It's continuing to push forward. Again, the Swiss is not something you want to hold over the weekends. I don't know that we're going to have enough time. This may be something that if we're able to by morning time get into it, you could take a shot on this one. But again, we'd like it to close up in this area. Okay, we want it to close up in this area. The reason why is because going into the week in an area like this, particularly on the 4 hour, because that's where the zone originally initiated from, was the 4 hour. Not a bad little target. Yeah, we could leave it there. Actually, you know what? That's not the 4 hour. Let me see. Hold on. It's tempting. It's tempting. So you know what I'll probably do? Let's see. How many pips is that? Let's see if we just do that level. Five may be a little bit more difficult, but I think the 1 to 3 is good on that one. So again, if you're okay holding things over the weekend, this may. Like I said, coronavirus news has not been bad. If this rallies up tomorrow morning before news, though, this may be worth taking some type of a short to the downside. We'll see where it is. But again, we are getting, you know, a bit higher in the curve, so we should start to be looking for shorts. And this is the last time we've really seen. I mean, there was nothing in here that really said, "Hey, listen, sell," except here. This is the last time we've had a really big push off of that area. So, not really not a bad spot. You guys can see it here too. Kind of came down, kind of cupped up, and then launched itself down. So, it's not a bad area. You guys know my feeling on this pair. It tends to move slow for my liking. But yeah, we're right there. We're right there. All right, so that's the Swiss. Let's see, the CAD. All right, so yeah, the CAD. All right, the CAD did not get close to where we wanted it to. So we were looking for some type of a break. We did not get it, okay, in the hourly. So here's where we are right now. It says 5, and then coming back, it goes to here, right here. There is 5. So we started here, and we're 7 pips different. So we went as high as 19 pips and as low as 9 pips. Now, we've hit once, we've hit twice, we've hit 3 times. Next time will be that 4th entry. Again, we were looking for actually a break of this lower area. I don't know that retail. Let's see, how far we got for that one. We got about 30 pips. So It's possible retail sales could give us a short, but it's gonna have to be a pretty bad retail sales to be able to get there and break through that zone. At this point, what I would do is because we're running out of time on this one, what I would do is I would probably shift the focus a little bit on this one. Um, if we're able to end up, and again, this is because we're not on tomorrow, but if we end up here or if we end up in this at the close on Friday, be looking for any type of a long situation on Sunday. Like if we gap into either of these two zones on Sunday, that would be a trigger for us to take something long to the top side. Okay. You'd be looking at, going long from either of these two positions, right? If we're able to gap into that range there or down into this one. Okay. And that's basically based off a Sunday gap. Now on the lower time frames, the 30-minute gives you a pretty clear view, right? We've been bouncing off this bottom and it just bounced off the top. 6 pips, 8 pips. I mean, we wouldn't really, I don't think we have enough room. Maybe we would have. That may not have been a bad short you could have taken. Yeah, that may not have been horrible. Not bad, but again, you're only talking about like, what, 18 pips in the other direction in this sideways channeling, so not horrible. There may have been something in that one. Again, like I said, trade this when I was eating dinner during this time. Something, yeah, a little something there. And then U.S. Singapore. Done, and then now it's kind of basic. Not surprised with this though. Again, this rally back up again was 14,000 new cases, and then this little red right that we're seeing right now is maybe it was just a one-off. Maybe it's not bad as what we think. I think this one will retrace as well, like we saw in the other pairs. Right? Again, if this is the next high, yeah, I can see this coming back down. This could be a little nice one. I think this one will have an interesting week next week. Okay, and understand too. Right now we are in somewhat of a failure to go higher situation. Right there. Change this. So we're in kind of this failure to go higher right now, and that is a 30 pip zone on the daily. So that one is set up as well. It's going to be the fall if we. So that's not hard. That one. All right. So back on the daily, you guys can see that it kind of went down a little bit and kind of is pushed back. It happened. Uh, Same thing, right? Lower highs in here. No huge spikes up to the top. Now, so Dow is actually looking like it doesn't want to be necessarily super explosive, but you always got to be cautious. It's pulling back to grab more orders to go higher, to go to all-time highs again. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like we could try to pull tops on it, but we really need some type of a confirmation that it's going to start turning downside. I mean, retail sales numbers could do it. Consumer sentiment may drive it down tomorrow, but this is really, for an overnight. The overnights have been a little bit wonky, so I would just really focus on the intraday and see what you can get in the intraday. Like I said, we had this, we pushed all the way down and we pushed all the way back up again. So it's just really kind of, yeah, there's a 15-minute. Right, so not really great, like, right? Oh God, the world's ending. Oh, the world's fine. And just really no movement. Top to bottom. So nothing really in the Dow. Um, NQ, definitely still continuing to go higher. Still continuing to go higher, but not necessarily surprised about this one. Again, nothing we could short on the top side. You can see there's some levels down here to be able to re-enter a trade, but nothing crazy. I'm trying to see if there's anything good on any of these, like really kind of telltale. No, these are all-time highs again, so nothing we can really do with those. All right, gold. Okay. All right, so on the 4 hour, again, we still did not make it all the way back up to the safe target, or the safe entry. On the hourly, you can see what we had. It was flaunting with this. You did not get your entry. It was super, super close 2 different times and is now pushed back. If you forced that one, oops, if you were able to actually get a fill on that one, you would have made it past your 1 to 3, and you're actually right at your 1 to 5 right now on that. But that one's pretty painful, right? A quick spike up. Actually, I guess you would have gotten it. If you would have filled on this first one, you would have exited here. And again, this one here, but you're approaching your 5 to 1 risk to reward trade now. So I don't think you would have got entry on that one, unfortunately. Super, super close here, super, super close here, and probably would have stretched this one down to, yeah, I just want to make sure that that one's a good, yeah. Yeah, and that matches up exactly with what we saw in the hourly. At bottom, you guys can see it right here on the white line. But again, you wouldn't the entry would have been right there. You got front run. This is one of those pipette annoying trades. But yeah, so again, that was a short to the downside. Um, Again, a lot of time in there doing nothing, and then finally like 3 hours of actually this is what 2 hours of down. That's a long time to hold things. And again, you can see all the way back into here, just nothing really. One spike up, and then one spike back down again. So not a lot of movement in gold. Looking at oil, let's go back up to the higher time frames, load some data. Again, this is not my zone that I drew. The zone I drew is here. Like, why is that there? All right, so actually, I'm gonna leave that there. Let me okay. You guys will see. There's what we drew last night on the 1 hour. Came all the way back down. Maybe we would take that one again. Uh, I forgot when I did that. It erases everything. Whoops. I would say that was a hand drawn zone. Dun, dun, dun. That's what kind of what we're looking for. That was the same area, right? Yeah. Yeah, that was the basically 52 to 52.25. On those lines. Actually, you know what? I'll just do it this way. And leave the drawing on there. Right. So you're in profit if you got back into this trade. You're about halfway through. Obviously, get yourself out before the weekend. Don't mess with oil as well. There's a lot of things that can make oil spike over the weekend. It's just not worth taking the risk on it. So gold has been painful. Yeah, I mean, this wasn't a bad. I mean, again, James, we saw this one. We expected that. Um, and turning it here, yeah, we expected that as well. The 1 to 3 was good, but look, with this piece right here, you know, here I'll pull this off. Like you're expecting price. This is your profit target right here, right? This should be. That's where you're expecting your profit target, and look where we bounced off of that level. So again, it's one of those situations where you'd love to say I'm going to get the 1 to 5, but it's just not there. The 1 to 3 is sure. The 1 to 3 is there, but the 1 to 5 is not. It just slightly below. It went down. See it here once and then here a second time. So again, remember a lot of this too is picking the right profit. Right? But this is this is a nice little zone up top. But it was a hand-drawn zone. Again, you had to be able to see this, this red, green sideways, and then red pop to the downside. So yeah, yeah. CL's been good. Gold is not so much good. Like I said, I like this trade. Any of the gold things we just looked at, not so much. Like I said, I mean, this wasn't bad, and you can see what it did to it. The analysis was right, but we missed the entry by a slight little amount. This one obviously definitely gave you, a better area to enter. And again, it brought it down from what 52 down to 51, 23, and actually went even lower, went all the way down to 51. So I mean, it dropped an entire dollar to the downside. And even here, you got in at 52, it went down to what 51.35, 51.40. So again, you got 60 cents out of that one too. So there's definitely been some things to be able to trade in that one. And like I said, you're not going to find something every day. I mean, the nice thing about trading is if you really get into commodities and if you don't see any great golds or, great oil setups, then don't take it. Look at gold. And if gold's not there, go to silver. And if silver's not there, go to, palladium. I mean, there's other things that you can trade, besides just one thing. Because not every day is going to be the best day trading. That's just how it works. You guys have to get used to that. What do I think of euro pound? I can go back to that one for you. Here. So this is what I'm looking for euro pound. On the daily, you can see that this green zone is signifying an area of demand. Okay, we had buyers here last time. It launched out of there, so not a bad zone. Going back, the last time the price was there, you can see this is kind of what we were dealing with, right? The last time. You can see that we had wicks here that we're sending. We have wicks here, then wicks lower, then wicks lower. So there's definitely buyers in this area, and there's actually a little bit of a gap, okay? Then we don't have anything till way down here, and that's on the daily, right? So on the daily, you can see that, and then we don't have anything till down here. So this is an area where it's kind of foggy. Dropping down to the 4-hour, right? Now the 4-hour, you have to go back a little bit farther to be able to grab it, right? But the last time price came down, it dropped, it based in one candle, and then launched out. Okay, so that signifies that we definitely have buyers sitting there where this base is, and that's where we're at right now. It's been unable to go any lower. So what I'm assuming is going to happen is I think we'll base a little bit more. I think we will have some type of a spike based off of that German preliminary GDP number. Okay, so if you weren't here for the very, very beginning, tomorrow morning we have this Euro German preliminary data. Okay, and you can see this one isn't necessarily one that they miss a ton, right? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of misses in here, but compared to some other releases, this doesn't get missed as often, right? And they're always kind of in the range. Like this one, it missed by 0.1. This one is by 0.2. You're not seeing huge misses like here by 0.1, by 0.1, by 0.1, by 0.2. So, because this one is, again, Germany is the biggest nation in the European Union. I expect that we'll see something off of it. But based off of what I'm seeing in the charts right now, this 4-hour zone and then looking on the daily, this is going to be an issue to kind of bounce through. I think we will go sideways. What I'm kind of hoping for is I would like price to end up down in this zone. So what I'd like price to do is I want to see something along like this. I mean, obviously in like red candles. Here, I'll change it to red so you can kind of get a better idea of it. No, not deep pink. Cannot handle any deep pink. Like if we get this and we're like, this is what tomorrow's daily looks like and we're in this zone, or if we end here, right? Say we end right now. Pretend this is a daily. We end right now. This is Friday night. And then we open here on Sunday. I'm going to be looking to take this one long. So I'm kind of bullish at either direction. It's just the timing of it and how much risk you want to take with it. So hopefully that helps. How did I come up with that green zone? That green zone is what's called a demand zone. Now, this is an indicator that we have that assists traders in finding it, but that's what we call a demand zone. So anything that's green is a demand, anything that is red is a supply, basically meaning that this is an area we have buyers, that's where we have an area of sellers, okay? And then occasionally you'll see me draw different zones. Like I could draw a zone here. Whoops. I could be drawing a zone here as well. And that is also a supply zone. The indicator didn't grab it because the settings are, you have to adjust the settings correctly. And this one didn't meet the qualifications in the algorithm to be able to draw it. But that would also be another zone, as well as technically there's something here as well. Okay, so looking at this one on a 4-hour, we're kind of boxed in, but I'm leaning towards this one coming down. This is quite a big collapse in a very, very short period of time, particularly over here. And again, it's holding firm. So I'm actually kind of getting more into the bullish mindset. I just needed to touch this zone first or start to form its base and then start to push higher. Okay. And then Ernest, you didn't see pound dollar. Pound dollar is that's what we have right now on the 1 hour. So pound dollar is up in an area where we could be looking to take some shorts. Um, I don't know. Like I said, this is. I mean, it's set up for a short. Without any news, there is U.S. news tomorrow. And again, the retail sales numbers are good. This obviously would push it to the downside, right? But you can see on the daily, we're getting higher in the curve, right? On the higher side, so we are looking more at a short. It is considered a downtrend setup on the daily and the weekly. On the 4 hour, kind of a zone, but not really. I mean, there's nothing we can mark because it literally was up and down in the same candle. So the best analysis we have on it is the hourly. Now, the one thing I dislike about this is this pierced all the way into the very, very top. Okay. It did base right below the zone. So it came up, went all the way, and then came back and based in the very, very bottom piece, right? It did go back to grab some more orders that is now pushing. If we do have a close below here at 130.37, then yeah, I could definitely see this one heading to the downside. You know, you could look at some contracts. Honestly, Ernest, the best way to play this one is if this one just kind of flatlines or goes a little bit lower. Watch this one about a half hour before the news release comes out, and then play it with 2 hour binaries. And again, just looking at its positioning, I'd be looking at binaries to the downside, but we'll see what it does. I mean, if it shoots all the way down or comes up above this zone beforehand, again, obviously that would change it. We'd be looking for a burst out the top side. Um, it's really too early to. I wouldn't be playing the news right now. It's too close to a zone. But you could play it, right? That's what I'm kind of like thinking. I'll look at 8 o'clock. If I look at 8 o'clock, huh? Not sure why my wife is calling me. It's probably my daughter. My daughter has figured out that she can hit the buttons on the phone and it calls people. Um, yeah. So if anything at this time, I would say wait till 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, see if we are breached above the top of this one, or if we started to pull away, and then see if we can get a pullback. So this is whether going to be an area going up or down, right? It's just figuring out which one it's going to be in time. If I had to pick right now, if there was no news, I would say short it. But again, I think this news, I think the news may be potentially negative tomorrow. I don't like how last time the actual was 0.7 and now they're forecasting 0.3. They know something. That's a big difference in the forecasts. All right. All right. So, Debbie, the way you do the ticket is you do exclamation point ticket, no space. Okay. Now, Debbie, as we're doing that, I will give everybody about a minute, right? I'll give it to 128, like 30-ish, so you guys can try to snipe that last one. Ernest is there right now. But Debbie, basically what happens is we have loyalty settings right here. And you can see, I don't know if you can see this big enough. I'll make it a little bit bigger for you. All right, so the way that it works is, make this wide so you can actually see it. Here you go. So any viewer, right? Anybody that watches the stream gets one pip chip for every 10 minutes. If you were a subscriber, you get two pip chips for every 10 minutes. So, we've been on for like an hour and 20 or something like that. So you're able to accumulate them that way. Cheering with bits, you're able to get it as well. I think the bits was Will in here. But you can actually purchase bits to support the channel and do those. Subscribing, when you do subscribe, you get 20 pip chips for that, which you subscribe tonight, so you'll get 20. If you follow the channel, there's like a little heart to follow it, so it tells you when we're online, you get something there, and then if you tip and things like that. And you can also host also, but we don't really do any hosting on the channel. It's not really necessarily set up for that. But that's how you actually gain the pip chips. I also there's two other ways to get them. One is giveaways. So giveaways are what we're doing right now. Giveaways don't cost you anything. They don't cost you pip chips or anything like that. But basically, you get in, you get pip chips. Everybody gets one free ticket. If you want to purchase more tickets, you can. It takes 10 of your pip chips for the evening to be able to do that. Like you can see right now, FX Jones has two. So Sean has got two in there, which increases his odds, right? And then the other thing that I can do as well is we can do contests. And a contest is one of those things where it poses a question, you know? And it's whether above or below. And you can see we did it with oil inventories for a while where I left it open for basically a couple hours and you would say, okay, do you think oil inventories are going to be above or below? And you would basically say what your bet is and you would pick above and below. And if you got it, basically, you'd have more than one winner, but those winners would split the entire pool price. Okay. Those were actually pretty fun to do as well. And you just use your pip chips for those as well. And, Ernest did pretty well. I think Ernest got I think one of them, he got like 100 pip chips. But there's a lot of things we can do with that one. Well, eventually I'll start doing more with this one here. Um, we'll start to have fun with this one. But the giveaways is the main that we typically do. All right. So it looks like we have 11 entries right now, 12 tickets in. I will go ahead and close this down. Now, here's a question, guys. Do you want me to do the first loser again? Because who was the first loser last night? It was James. I think it was James, right? Look at that, man. Q just literally snuck in at the last second. Yeah, I think it was James last night. But do you guys want me to do the first loser again? The winner tonight is Wes. Man, Wes hasn't been here for a while. Look at this. Wes comes back and Wes wins. I think he did this before, too. Wes, I feel like you've been on the stream like 3 times, and every time you come on the stream, you win. I feel like that. All right, so come on, guys, vote. Are we doing the first loser? Does anybody want to know if Wes was not here? Do you guys want to know who would have won if it wasn't for Wes? This is like playing blackjack, and the person next to you takes the hit and gets the queen that you needed. Right? Gets the 8. I know, right? All right, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Okay, Wes gets the 25 pip chips for tonight, but the second winner is... Oh, man, she's on fire, man. This would have been like the 3rd time, something like that. The 3rd time in like a week or 2 weeks. 2 weeks. All right, I'm gonna give Wes his where's Wes? Wes doesn't come on often, but when Wes comes on, Wes wins. Wes is like the world's most interesting man. He's like, I don't always drink. He's like, I don't always win pip chips, or I don't always attend chart school, but when I do, I win. It's kind of what we're getting into. All right, it's funny. But you could say Will's still in the lead, just barely hanging on there, just barely. Yeah, look at that. She's killing it. And look, Wes is even getting them at a low rate. Wes is not subscribing to the channel. He's new to it. So, Q, one of these days you will win. You are due, my friend. You're definitely due. All right? All right, guys. So with that being said, make sure you guys protect your positions tomorrow if there's anything on. I don't expect major movement unless there's some type of like, earth-shattering news. The virus, 50 new cases in the United States, and then the markets will tank. I think it'll be rather mute tomorrow. Remember, Sunday nights, if you guys are not subscribing to the weekly report, last week I think we were up like 75 or 80 pips, something like that. I think it was 60 in the top section and 27 on the bottom section. There was a couple things that moved really fast, and we took conservative targets. So again, those are typically out by 8:20. I think I've gotten every single one of them out by 8. I'm sorry, not 8. Every single one of them out by 5:20. So I try to get those out within the first 15 minutes of the open because I need the gaps to actually open so I can send the trades out to you guys. But they've done rather well. So that, and then remember, there's 32 levels that I'll give you guys out for supply and demand on all the pairs. And weekly recap, curve location, and high priority news event releases for parabolic retracement. So also this weekend, guys, you will see if you guys don't have the supply and demand indicators, these things, they will be up on the Thinkific site. I will actually be working on, if you guys scroll down below the panels, I will actually put a new panel up for the membership site. Everything up here right now is just kind of the old information, but I'll put the new Thinkific site up here as well, so you guys can get to it a little easier when you're online. All right. So with that being said, you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys. If you guys are in Discord tomorrow, I will definitely be in there. For any of the new people that are joining us tonight, if you guys click Discord below, if you guys use Discord, it's a free chat room that we use. It doesn't cost anything. You're more than welcome to ask questions of anybody inside of that room, and we try to help as many people as we can. All right? So you guys take care, and I will catch you guys tomorrow.